Hi, this is Dan Miller with Advantive Solutions. In this session, we are going to review Decision Director's support for public sector procurement projects. Decision Director is a hosted collaboration platform that facilitates stakeholder engagement in the planning phase of procurement projects, as well as the response collection and analysis from the vendor phase of an RFP project. Decision Director is a hosted application and is stored in secure servers at the SunGuard Availability Services data center in Phoenix, Arizona. It's a commercial facility that is hardened in multiple ways to prevent physical intrusion. And we do allow our clients to do penetration testing on our application to ensure that it is secure from a technical perspective. Since 1997, we've supported a large number of large-scale procurements. And included in our client base are a number of states, cities, and counties, as well as many large publicly funded universities that must also follow public sector procurement policies, procedures, and guidelines. For the purpose of this session, I will first log into my account to show some of the planning facilities within Decision Director that lead to the preparation of an RFP. Decision Director presents a dashboard to people as they log in and consists of projects. And in this case, in this example, the project for Advantive County Financial System Replacement is shown, and this is a dashboard for that project. On the dashboard is an activity, Stakeholder Requirements Review, which provides an example of how Decision Director can be used to capture input from stakeholders relative to potential requirements for the RFP. Back to the dashboard, there's also the opportunity to create RFP response collection events where vendors can go securely to provide their responses to the requirements, as well as terms and conditions and questions that might be contained in an RFP. Decision Director allows for the invitation to bidders who express interest, which allows Decision Director to be used in conjunction with a bid management system that the organization might be using, whether it be from BuySpeed, Ariba, SciQuest, or other commercial platforms, or perhaps a website that the organization itself has created for the purpose of publishing bid documents as well as instructions. If Decision Director is involved in an RFP, then those instructions would include a reference to Decision Director and how to gain access to Decision Director in order to respond to the questions and requirements contained in the bid. I will switch browsers and go to log in as a typical vendor. This is Glenn Ferris. He works for Morrison Associates, and they are responding to the Advantive County Financial System Replacement RFP. That RFP event shows up as an activity on their dashboard, and the Collaborate link reveals the documents that are contained within this RFP. As you can see, there are instructions to offerers, there's a cover letter, as well as documentation order and offer and agreement terms, special terms and conditions, cost schedules, sections of detailed requirements, and in this case, accessibility forms for vendor self-reporting of accessibility. There can be many other types of documents included in the RFP. The summary page gives an overview of all of the documents and the extent to which the work has been completed to respond to the minimum number of required items for this RFP. Instructions are also provided to the vendors so they know how to use Decision Director. There's extensive online help, and Advantive provides support in the use of Decision Director, but we refer all policy-related questions back to the designated point of contact within the client organization. For the purpose of this example, we've made only a small number of the requirements required to be answered in order to be eligible to submit a bid, and in this case, the special terms and conditions document has 3 items remaining. So Glenn will click on that document. He can obtain a brief summary of the document to reveal that in the performance criteria section, there are 3 items that remain. 1 out of 4 have been answered, leaving 3 to be answered. Now these are terms and conditions or even criteria that the vendors must review and respond to. In this case, this response field was configured to include a comply indicator that the vendors must choose a yes or a no, and then an optional note that they can use to augment their response. For another item, it may be a simple acknowledgement where the vendor is compelled to acknowledge that they have read that item. So we can eliminate vendors saying that they didn't see something in an RFP and therefore then try to work their way out of having to agree to something. We'll just complete this item. We can go back to the collaboration summary to see that we have now answered all of the items necessary for the vendors then to be eligible to submit their bid. Glenn is a bid manager for his company. He can manage the engagements or the bids, including this Advantive County RFP. He can see a quick summary of the work to date. He sees that all of the required items are completed. He is now eligible to submit the bid, which is a simple act of clicking submit. He can also generate an archive of all of the documents that are a part of the RFP, as it may be a requirement that the client has that all of the work must then be uploaded as documents to the standard bid management system. Decision Director facilitates that process very easily for the vendors. This concludes this overview of Decision Director support for public sector procurements.